U.S. pilot then downed 2 more Serb fighters. The other U.S. flyer shot down a 4th plane. The remaining 2 Bosnian Serb aircraft turned tail and ran. President Clinton and the UN commander in Bosnia say what was done had to be done.
There were 2 warnings. Every attempt was made, to the best of our information, to avoid this encounter.
6 aircraft were in flagrant breach of the NATO ultimatum, and not only that, they were engaged, from what I understand, actually in attacking targets on the ground. They were warned about their activity, and if they should continue this activity, from what I hear, they were told they would be shot down. They continued with their attack missions, and they were duly the first pair were shot down.
It's unknown whether the Serb pilots ejected from their planes. This isn't the first violation of the no-fly zone, which has been enforced since last April. Usually helicopters, which are less threatening, would break the rules to transport troops and weapons. But the mountains often make it difficult to spot and confirm such violations.
Violations of the no-fly zone, like we saw today, will simply not be tolerated, and if we can engage, we will engage.
Now, the Bosnian Serbs aren't admitting to anything, just suggesting the planes may have been on some kind of training flight. The NATO air attack is getting positive reaction from Congress, Western European leaders, and even Russia, traditionally a Serb ally.
Barbara, what are you hearing tonight? Could this military action today possibly derail the Bosnian peace talks?
Well, Bosnian officials in Washington for the talks say this could actually move the peace process along because it's showing the Serbs that the West is actually serious.
Okay, Barb, thanks.
While NATO tries to keep a hold on Bosnia, the Israelis are trying to keep things calm in the occupied territories. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin agreed to disarm settlers in parts of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. The move was prompted by Friday's massacre at an Islamic mosque at the hands of a Jewish settler. It's hoped the action will coax the PLO back into peace talks. Rabin will also allow expansion of the proposed Palestinian police force, but he rejected demands to dismantle Jewish settlements in the occupied lands.
Sexual abuse charges against a Chicago cardinal have been dropped tonight. Cardinal Joseph Bernardine says he's very, very happy to be out from under a $10 million sexual abuse lawsuit. The cardinal and another priest were accused of molesting seminary student Stephen Cook in Cincinnati, dating back to the mid-1970s. Earlier today, Cook dropped Bernardine from the suit, saying his memories of the alleged abuse are unreliable.
I am voluntarily dismissing these claims of my own free will and with no pressure or threats from anyone. I'm doing this because it's the right thing to do.
I harbor no ill feelings toward Stephen Cook. I have compassion for him. I have prayed for him every day, and I will continue to do so.
And tonight, Stephen Cook says he plans to continue his lawsuit against another priest.
A trial's underway in Pensacola, Florida tonight for the man accused of murdering a doctor who performed abortions. Attorneys for Michael Griffin say it was a female pro-life advocate, not Griffin, who shot to death Dr. David Gunn outside an abortion clinic last year. The defense team has also gotten permission to show the jury graphic abortion videos to support their claim the killing was a crime of passion. Prosecutors say they've got witnesses who heard Griffin confess.
Well, California taxpayers end up paying the price of defending one of the Menendez brothers in their upcoming retrial. Well, attorney Leslie Abramson, who represents Eric Menendez, says the money the brothers inherited from their parents is all gone, and she wants LA County to foot the bill for her services. The proceedings against Eric and his brother Lyle were last month ruled mistrials after jurors said they couldn't decide whether the two were justified in killing their wealthy mom and dad. 2 other lawyers working for the brothers today said they wouldn't be back. One of them is citing family matters. Well, another high-profile court case is back in the news tonight as Lorena Bobbitt is released from a mental hospital. A judge in suburban Washington, D.C. made it official today, saying the woman who was found innocent by reason of insanity for cutting off her husband's penis is no threat to society. Under terms of her release, Lorena will have to see a psychiatrist weekly, and she also won't be permitted to leave Virginia without permission. Asked what she's learned from her ordeal, Lorena was blunt and to the point.
Men have to have a little bit more consideration and respect a woman.
By the way, Mrs. Bobbitt, who says she hopes to remarry, has hired an agent to sell her story and also book personal appearances. She will continue to work as a manicurist.
Bond has been set tonight for a Cleveland man accused of stabbing his infant son. Andre Morris remains behind bars on $250,000 bond after being charged with the murder in the stabbing death of his 10-month-old son, Roosevelt. Morris told police the baby was choking and he tried to perform a tracheotomy with a pen to save the child's life. The coroner's office says they found nothing to prove the child was choking. Bond has also been set tonight for 22-year-old Michael Stoudemire. He's charged with aggravated murder in the shooting death of Osceola Jones. Jones, the son of community activist Harlel Jones, was gunned down in what friends call a neighborhood rivalry. Bond for Stoudemire has been set at $250,000.
This was an emotional day here in Cleveland as two young men went to court to face charges in two vicious murders. And while that was happening, one of their alleged victims was laid to rest. Bill Martin has more.
But we would request a high bond is an obvious threat to society.
They are charged with murder, 21-year-old Tyson Dixon and 20-year-old Ramel Wilkes. Both are accused of shooting a man and woman to death in the couple's car. This morning, Dixon and Wilkes stood before Judge Strickland Saffold for their arraignment.
This is an execution-style slaying of two individuals. This is a mass murder specification. The defendant will be facing the death penalty.
A few hours later, friends and family were saying goodbye to Joyce Woolley, one of the men's alleged victims. The 32-year-old Woolley was shot 3 times in the back of the head. The man with her, 20-year-old Maurice LaFleur, was shot twice. Police suspect the murders were drug-related. Lieutenant Dennis Gunch is with the Cleveland Police Homicide Unit.
It sure is evident that human life doesn't mean much.
LaFleur and Woolley were shot execution-style Thursday near Kingsford and East 144th. The truck they were in severed a utility pole. Police believe they may have slammed into it trying to save their lives.
Bond be set an amount of $250,000 cash surety in each instance.
The alleged gunman will be back in court March 10th and could be heading to the electric chair if found guilty. I'm Bill Martin for the 10 o'clock news.
The city was also stunned last Thursday by a set of execution-style killings on the city's west side. Tonight, 7 people have been arrested for the murders on West 46th Street, but they still haven't been officially charged. Police say the fatal shootings of Azig Solomon, Madeline Rivera, and Terrence Faust were probably drug-related. 4 children were home during the killings, but they weren't hurt.
A man who police say robbed and killed a man at a Brook Park hotel has been arraigned tonight. David Hill is accused of killing Patrick Sullivan of West Virginia on Saturday at the Charter House Hotel. Police say they were called to a robbery at the building and found Sullivan dead when they got there. Hill was a resident at that hotel. His bond has been set at $500,000.
Another step towards fighting crime tonight as the Brady Bill becomes law. As of today, anyone buying a handgun will have to wait 5 days to get the weapon and go through a background check. President Clinton used the Brady Bill as a springboard today to talk about his crime bill. He says the Brady law is a start, but more needs to be done.
We need to recognize that a lot of the kids that are getting in trouble have grown up in neighborhoods where there is no longer a strong sense of community, where their own families are not able to support them, and where there is not very much work. And when you have neighborhoods in which you lose family, community, and work, you're in a world of hurt. And we have to give those kids something to say yes to. And that is also something we are trying to do in the crime bill.
The Brady Law is named after Jim Brady, the White House aide who was wounded in the 1981 assassination attempt on former President Reagan. Well, something new is being tried in Lorain that could take a bite out of crime. It's called Cops, and it's nothing less than revolutionary.
Police officers are paid to live in high crime areas. And as Betty Halliburton shows us, the effort seems to be having a positive impact.
Levitt Homes, a public housing complex that has its share of crime and drug-related problems. But the residents here have new neighbors who are fighting on their behalf and bridging the gap between police and the community. Community Officers Patrolling the Streets, or COPS, is a pilot project sponsored by Lorain Police and the County Public Housing Authority.
Most times, traditional policing, you handle the problem, you react to the problem. community policing is proactive. You try to stop the problem before it happens. Everybody else is in school. You should be in school. You shouldn't be out here walking around, man. That's disrespectful to us.
Since January 1st, COPS participants have been hitting the pavement and getting to know all of their neighbors one by one.
In this particular area, you have a lot of people living close together and a lot of problems. So when you have the police out here on a regular basis, people like that because you're able to service them in a quick and timely type manner.
The 4 men in this unit say it's important to get close to law-abiding citizens since they're the ones who'll help them catch criminals. 2 months ago, the unit caught a suspect wanted in Texas. Residents say they're feeling safer than ever.
A lot of things have stopped that's been going on out here. And you have all the little kids running up to the door, you know. And before, they couldn't even play out here. And, you know, it made pretty much of a difference.
It's relieving a lot of us for our kids and everyone out here.
And the COPS unit is hoping they'll be able to expand their program citywide. In Lorraine, Betty Halliburton reporting for the 10 o'clock news.
And still ahead, watching TV in Cleveland may never be the same if City Council has its way. Find out why when the 10 o'clock news continues. Plus, an emergency landing in the most unlikely of places, and the pilots walk away. We'll explain what happened.
And genetic engineering could wipe out disease, but could it also alter the human species? Do we know too much for our own good? Christy Perry explores that question in her special report, Designer Genes.
You're watching the 10 o'clock news on WUAB Channel 43, where the news comes first. Wanted by lady romance writer at loose ends in the jungles of Colombia. One swashbuckling raider type for hire.
Now, I ain't cheap, but I can be had.
Absolutely must be handsome. Also very brave and good with animals. Object, high adventure with big rewards. Kathleen Turner and Michael Douglas are having the time of their lives. Not so for Danny DeVito, romancing the stone. Tuesday night at 8 on Channel 43.
We'd like to suggest a couple of ways to help you control energy costs. Take a look at the age and wattage of your appliances and light bulbs. Then compare them with today's high-efficiency models. The energy savings can be substantial. Here's another way to save, managing energy in the 90s. It's full of energy-saving tips and guidelines for making your home more energy efficient. It can help you save energy and money, and it's free from Ohio Edison.
Your Pontiac dealers are so excited by the results from doubling current factory rebates with special auto show incentives, they're extending them until March 14th. For a limited time, qualifying buyers can still double their value on new Grand Ams with $500 extra cash back for a total of $1,000. Or double your value on Bonneville with $750 extra cash back for a total of $1,500. Double your excitement before March 14th with extended auto show incentives at your Northern Ohio Pontiac dealer today.
If the very word makes your mouth water, has the Olive Garden got news for you. Like you've never had it before. Sensational seafood. Lasagna. Fantastic 5 cheese. Hearty meat and sausage. Lasagna. Delicious spinach and mushroom. And our classic, cheesier, more flavorful than ever. Lasagna like only the Olive Garden could do it. Baked fresh every day. Lasagna. The Lasagna Lovers Festival, now through April 3rd.
It was a frightening morning for a 22-year-old pilot who was forced to make an emergency landing in Akron. Steve Kiggins of Akron was flying this single-engine Cessna when he says it lost power. The Akron man had to put the plane down about 100 yards short of the Halley Farm and Village. Kiggins says he was flying from the Portage County Airport when he started to have problems. The plane struck several trees and was damaged during the rough landing, but Kiggins walked away safely. Well, a messy day on the ground for some Cleveland commuters. A huge garbage truck lost part of its load, turning a section of I-90 into a real dump. It happened about 10 o'clock this morning in the eastbound lanes at West 44th Street. Traffic was reduced to 2 lanes while the mess was cleaned up.
Cleveland City Council members are tonight beginning the long process of sifting through Mayor Michael White's proposed budget. The mayor was busy today during the opening of Council's budget hearings down at City Hall. White says he's looking not only to use tax revenues wisely, but also to try and save it.